I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers.
What up? What up? What up? Happy Tuesday, March 3rd to everybody out there. Appreciate you guys tuning in to Pregaming here on the Sports Money Network. I'm your boy, Mikey Money here. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the NHL, the NBA, and some college hoops. As we try to get paid and beat these bookies this evening, we will look at cash flow, line movement. We will look at player props. We will look at trends, angles, anything we can find that we think gives us a competitive gambling edge. That's what we're here to do tonight. I am doing a little housekeeping, and I realized I put the wrong date out. So apparently that's how we're going to kick off here, but appreciate everybody that's joining us live. Those that tuned in post-fact, and we'll tune in again post-fact today. I appreciate you guys joining as well. Hopefully you benefit from the timestamps. If you want to go back and listen to something that was dropped out there, but you might have inadvertently missed it off the pop. So tonight's show's a good one, though. We've got some NHL action. I've got three really attractive spots here for the NHL. Sorry, I'm just, there we go. Had to get that out there. But we're going to look at the Penguins and the Bruins in a I can't believe it yet situation. Then we're going to go to the Senators and the Oilers, share with you some trendage. That's our friendage before we follow it up with the Avalanche and the Ducks. Are the Avalanche the best team in the West? How could I have a post be locked for me? Come on, winnable. Then we're going to move over to college basketball. We're going to talk about, this is a really great college basketball card, and it is our time, you guys. March Madness is upon us. We have some conference tournaments already started. We have final games, final opportunities for revenge, all of that fun stuff out there. But we're going to talk some big games tonight. We've got Texas Christian, Texas Tech. We've got Mississippi State and Florida, BYU and Cincinnati. And we'll bring her home with Nebraska and UCLA. That is the late night special. Shining light on. We're going to shine the light on that game and give you guys a knockdown, drag out W. And then I've got three NBA spots for you guys in the Nets and the Heat, the Spurs and the Sixers, and the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. How about it? I saw BetMGM feller today. Shout out to Natalie Wagner from Arkansas. Hopefully she's checking us out here as well. That being said, though, I saw some fascinating information today. I commented on it. I had to. I couldn't help it. You know, I like to see something. I like to talk about it. And that being the case here, I did comment on it. I said to you guys, the Spurs will win the National Basketball Association. I also said it will be the Spurs and the OKC Thunder on the Western Conference side of things. I told you it will be the Pistons and the Knicks on the Eastern Conference side of things. And the Pistons will prevail. It will be the Pistons that play the Spurs in the NBA championship, and the Spurs will get it done. BetMGM tweets out this morning, Spurs were 60-1 long shots to win the NBA championship before the season begun. Since February, San Antonio's 11-1. And the most bet team to win the title. Spurs are now plus 750 at BetMGM to win the title. 60-1. Now, you could jump in there and be like, well, yeah, the Spurs, they're plus 750. They're hotter than fish grease. Sure they are. But the point is, at the NBA Cup, I told you what was going to happen. That goes back to November. That's what we do here. We prognosticate. We try to find the best bets, the angles, the opportunities, the trends, and we know what the trend was. And I'll tell you again, the trend, and I'm sad if you missed it. But that's why I gave you the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. So you can try to make some money on the exact matchup pairing as well. And it just simply comes down to this one. Team that lost the NBA Cup goes on to represent that conference in the finals. They've won multiple times as well in the short years of existence that's out there. So how about that? I thought that was fascinating. I mean, if that was a Kalshi bet that we had loaded early, we could cash that thing out right now and probably have gained 20x. So fascinating. I found it interesting. I found tonight's card interesting. I was texting back and forth with my guy Shark today. Just talking about some of these angles. He was like, give me your cap on this one. I told him. It's like, I never used the area code to cap a game before. So some creativity in the game plan out there. We dropped a unit here. Actually, what did we drop? What did we do yesterday? We dropped a quarter unit yesterday. So, this is why we flat bet. I mean, look, probably if I was going to reflect, here's the thing. Some guys will look at it and be like, oh, this game was so much. How do you know? How do you know that a shit New York Rangers team that can't score and the Columbus Blue Jackets finding struggles with the back of the net themselves are going to blow over the total by 6? And so if you give that out as your 3 unit, your 5 unit, your 10 unit whale chase, I'm down, my pants around my ankles, play of the year, how do you know? So we flat bet them. We grade them all equally. Now maybe we'll affect it come live betting. And I found a stat about live betting that fascinated me. But, he's just keeping us in the battle for the big fight. When we get the big bite, when we go out there and we have ourselves a monster night. Now, listen, probably reflecting on it, a unit on the Kings, probably the best play to do there at plus 160 was to make them to win a unit. At plus 160, if you're using a $100 unit, you're investing what? $60 maybe, give or take. And that would have been the difference between being down a quarter of a unit and being up a third of a unit. So probably in hindsight, that was the right way to do it. But look, we didn't do it. We don't do it that way. We beat them up with SC State. I gave you guys South Carolina State over Delaware State. The Hornets took the L outright. +2 gets it cashed out there for us. Now, I told you by the time the show popped off, you guys had better line value on Stephen F. Austin. I officially had to grade it as a -8. And I believe it closed around 6.5. So depending on when you got in, you probably won. I ended up pushing. Sucks. But K. Sarad, Northern Arizona +6.5 gets busted up. I'm really mad too because I messaged Miggity Mac Daddy and I said, here's a free play for you. Southeast Louisiana outright. They're like +350. He's like, stop it. They ended up winning outright. Now I didn't give that one out. I'm a little mad at myself for that. Weber State and Portland State, that game got over by 1.5 for us. And that's how we finished off college basketball. NBA wise, pretty solid here in the NBA. And I got to mention this. I have really, since the All-Star break, I know the haters are going to say, this guy just talks about winning. It is what it is, dude. We're firing in the NBA. We're cashing. We're kicking butt. We're taking names. We got the over, easy over in Denver and Utah last night. 243.5. They put up what? 254? A 10-point spot out there. The Clippers, the world was playing Golden State Warriors, not us. We were on the Clip Show. Clip Show, get it done out there. So smaller spots for us in the NBA, but we picked our battles and we have slayed the dragon. Now, full disclosure, the NHL's not been great. It's starting to give me a complex. We lost the Rangers under 6. We lost the under 6 in Dallas and Vancouver. That game should have at least pushed. And then the Kings +160. So it was an 0-3 out there. Kind of correlates to what I did on the Win Club yesterday as well with Winnable. Swept the NBA. Well, I guess not. I went 2-0. Dallas -1 in the Flyers money line. I pushed the 6 with Detroit earlier in the day. I went 0-3 in college hoops yesterday. So NBA continues to be the bright spot, and I fired off today in the NBA. As a matter of fact, I've got plays here for you guys. I've got free plays over on Winnable as well, so you can get that action. And probably if you're looking at it thinking like, what constitutes premiums versus free plays, and are they any less? No, they're not. I want every play to win. I try to make a winner out of every single thing that comes out of my mouth, but my best plays, my favorite plays, the ones that I might go just a little bit heavier on, that I go full units, big boy units on, those are going to be the ones that you find over at Winnable. Certainly silver and gold members, I share some of those with you guys as well on the community post tab. Today, however, I did post out a card for all members of Sports Money. So I just want to say thank you guys for being here as we grow this network. And small winner early. What are you going to do? I'm just grinding. You're here to grind. We grind indeed. We had soccer bets. Bournemouth draw, no bet. The game, they had a goal. They got it taken back. Ended 0-0, no loss, no whammy. Then we had the draw, no bet for Bournemouth, parlayed with Barcelona to get a plus 175. Barcelona wins the game. I think it was 3-0 final. But because of the draw, no bet for Bournemouth, it only ended up paying us like a half a unit. So maybe we got our unit back from here. We got our losses back from yesterday. Up maybe just a small tick. I've got 3 more plays out there as well. They're from the premium card over at Winnable. So good stuff happening all around. Appreciate everybody that's here. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button if you haven't done so yet. And then we will dig into this card. Fire fast. Kick butt, take names. And see if we can't continue to build our bankrolls. Also, I wanted to point out DraftKings points out there. DraftKings 50. Now it's funny because it's how this thing comes full circle. We talked about this live betting, and some jokers won't do it. We do it better than anybody. We've proven that time and again, year over year out, with the free play shows that we do out there, the NFL shows, the hockey shows, the UFC shows. Nobody live bets better than the squad here at Sports Money. That being said, 54% of DraftKings action last year. Keep in mind, DraftKings is saying they're losing. They just laid off a whole bunch of people. DraftKings can't find a way to be profitable. 54% of their cash, their bets, were live bets. The takeaway, much like we talked about dicing them up on the Calgary Flames the other day, that plus 275 spot. We'll take some shots. We'll keep them measured. We'll manage that bankroll. But that's where the books are getting beat up. And so you want to align yourselves when the books tell you they're losing. Probably a good idea to be involved in those spots out there. So shout out to all you guys being a part of the game show tonight. 9 Legacies got the paid in full parlay for you guys here. He's going Texas A&M, Seton Hall, Kansas State, Utah, all spread bets. And then he's going with the Sacramento Kings, Oklahoma -2.5. Shout out to Blake M. Appreciate him checking in. I know he's a busy fella. Appreciate you, Blake. J. Main in the house. AOD is here as well. Appreciate you guys, man. Get those best bets in this chat. Let's get ourselves moving and grooving and see if we can't find a way to kick some butt and take some names. The first 5 parlay, sadly, or the team total under, sadly did not get there. But look, I'm going to start this card off talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins. Okay, here's the deal. Pittsburgh's down Sidney Crosby. Believe they're 2-0-1 in the 3 games without Sidney Crosby. Now they're going to Stuart Skinner. Jeremy Swayman will be on the other side. Skinner has a 2.76 goals against average. Swayman's got the 2.89. Look, Philadelphia situation, 2 goals, 3-1 loss, coming back from the Olympic break. So do we see a little bit of the Swayman bounce back in this position out there? The Bruins, however, have been playing well. Surprisingly, yeah, I'm a little surprised at the level of efficiency that the Bruins have put forward. They're 3-0-1 in their last 4 games. The Penguins, this is the part that surprises me. They come in here. They're winning games, and they're winning them despite the lack of Sidney Crosby, where I came out of the All-Star break, the Olympic break, thinking, no Crosby, you're crushed. You're going to start losing games. They started off so damn hot. They made some moves, some grooves, some trades. But man, they just continue to find a way. But I say not today. Home team with the rest advantage. 2 days versus 1 day. 9 in a row have they cashed out there. 9-1 of their last 10. And over the past 2 years, it continues to produce at a 62% win rate. The home team, 2 days rest against an opponent with 1 day's rest. Those are the spots out there. And more rested, good teams. Good in this case is classified or qualified by being better than 500. You're not a shit team if you're below 500. You are. You're a good team if you're over 500. For all intent and purpose. In the same situation here, the more rested home team against a good team have cashed 5 in a row and 9-1 in the last 10. I'm going to buy. This isn't that they're due, albeit I do believe they're due to take the L. The fact of the matter is that the Pittsburgh Penguins are in trouble tonight, and I think you're catching the Boston Bruins, the home team, at a really nice price tag, and they've had a really nice go. I mean, look, a lot of people were dialed in. They come back from the Olympic break. They got the Columbus Blue Jackets. Night 1, game 1 back. And they popped them 4-2. Now they lost to them pesky little Flyers. Flyers have had themselves a heck of a streak. We got a win last night with Philadelphia against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Took them overtime to do it, but the Penguins are coming off that 5-0 shutout win against the Vegas Golden Knights. And anytime I see that shutout factor, well, I want to start thinking about fading. A little disappointed on, and maybe I'm not letting this dissuade me or impact here from a recency bias perspective, but that Saturday afternoon matinee game at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers there, they had the lead, and you could just feel it starting to slip away. And they go to overtime and they lose. So coming out of the break, they beat the Devils 4-1. They take a 3-2 L. They win 5-0. Man, this team has been firing. But I guess their defense is really what's astonishing to me in the overall perspective here. But I'm going to take the Boston Bruins. I think you get a really nice price here. Sitting around a minus 118. I give them the goalie edge. Although I told you guys when the All-Star, probably the only guy that had this take was Stuart Skinner won that trade. He got to get the hell out of Edmonton. And look at Edmonton now. Not doing any moving or grooving. They're just getting run over right now. So shout out to Skinner, the winner of the trade. J May says Detroit 15-3 to the under. -1 to -5. Okay. So we're going to kick it off with the Boston Bruins to pop the top on the shop and see if we can't make them bookie panties drop. The Senators and the Oilers. Speaking of the aforementioned Edmonton Oilers and their pretty widely recognizable flaws, Linus Ullmark, the aforementioned player who can't keep his lips sealed. Linus, what happens on the road stays on the road. The Edmonton Oilers, however, have to go to Connor Ingram and just Tristan Yari played the other day. What are you going to do? They're going to deal with injury issues. They're dealing with serviceable goaltenders. Question is, what are you going to see from this Ottawa Senators team? Now, I'm a little surprised that the Ottawa Senators haven't traded Brady Tkachuk because it seemed like the entire planet, or at least Canada, wanted to trade this guy and get him out of there. They were upset that he was making, I don't know what they were so upset about because he's an American that beat a Canadian team for the gold medal. But the fact that they're the home team gives them the edge here tonight. And I know they've struggled. They've certainly had their issues. This line opened, to me, the value play lies in the fact, I hate that word value, but it opened at -152. It's down to 117. There's 4 lines of players. There's no one person on the team that could make me say, okay, this number's justified in how much it's actually moved. I don't buy it. Now, what are we going to see? Connor McDavid's not playing tonight? Well, I don't see that being the case. So outside of him, I feel pretty good. And look, I think, granted, they put belt to ass on the Los Angeles Kings. Now, it's a tough call last night, plus 160, tried to slide those Kings home, but I thought it was a good look. I thought the situation, by the way, player that I talked about there, Connors, 4 shots on goal. None of them got through, but he was feisty. He was fiery. These boys have gotten their first home game since the Olympic break for the Edmonton Oilers. So they lost at Anaheim 6-5. They thumped the Kings 8-1. They lost to the Sharks 5-4. And they got these pesky little Senators coming into town. Home favorites against non-conference opponents dominate. They've won 5 in a row. They're cashing 9 of their last 10. And over the last 5 seasons, they've exhibited a 62.5% win rate. Now, put that into perspective with this situation today. And the Oilers, after 3 straight road games coming out of the Olympic break, think those numbers make sense? The Oilers, favored at home. After a loss. In other words, bounce back at home, Edmonton Oilers. Yes or no? Yes. 7-0 on the season, these Edmonton Oilers. They bounce back off a loss when they're on home ice. And again, the price, the discount, the fact that the public dummied this line down to us at minus 117, minus 118. Game on for me. I'm going to take it. I laid the minus 118. I'm playing it. I'm taking the home team. Soft line. Suspicious, yes. Colorado Avalanche and the Anaheim Ducks will be the next game on the docket for us. What do you think about the West? Dallas? You got Dallas, Vegas, Colorado. Now, I'll sneak peek you guys a little Utah Mammoth. I said from the get-go, I didn't like the way this Mammoth team was created. They won a ton of games. Are they due to take some thumps? They got shut out the other night. The Colorado Avalanche and the Anaheim Ducks, however, Colorado comes in here. A lot of people think this is the favorite to win the cup out of the West. I'm not quite there yet, but man, they've looked good doing it. This line has come down, however, from $1.61 to $1.48. So we got to take a look and see what the heck is going on out there. And is it just that the Anaheim Ducks, Dostal? Scotty Wedgwood, the wedge wall, will start for the Colorado Avalanche. He's got a 2.29 goals against average. Came out of the All-Star break firing. 4-2 win over the Utah Mammoth. So put that into perspective. I normally like to play teams coming off of a shutout loss, but I thought Utah was probably a little overinflated. I started second guessing myself going into the All-Star break, but I think they're guilty of that team that people just don't care about. They're not taking them serious. Anaheim Ducks, on the other hand, I had some time to reflect on it, and the movement, the Drysdale movement, the Cutter Gauthier movement. I mean, this team has been shuffling the deck around a little bit, trying to get themselves into a position, and maybe they caught some lightning in a bottle. Young team with lack of experience, but I like the team they put on the ice week in and week out, game in and game out. I don't like Cutter Gauthier, but that's because of his ghosting of the Philadelphia Flyers. So, you know, looking at the goaltenders for the matchup, I do give Colorado the edge. You know, the thing I don't like, I mean, Colorado having just played last night, that's a tough situation. You got the second leg of a back-to-back, and then you go back to it. The more rested, you got the favorite against a conference dog on a back-to-back situation. The rest advantage prevails. It's cashed 8 straight times, 47-17. I'm going to take a shot with the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not going to read into it. It's not that I love the Ducks and I'm overexcited about. I get it. It's a young team and it's a fun team to watch here, but They are at home. Colorado is in the second leg of the back-to-back, and specifically in conference play there, the edge does exist with the home team in this case. And I think they feel pretty good. I think that, if you're the Colorado Avalanche, your psyche as you look at approaching this game is thinking, we needed to knock off our last opponent. They're 18-6-5 away, so there's no doubt number one team in the Central, but they came out, they beat up Chicago Blackhawks 3-1. They beat up the LA Kings 4-2. Second game on the road now coming back from the All-Star break here. I think this is a good spot to take the Anaheim Ducks. I think it's a good fit. I think it feels fine. Now, I've told you guys, the trade deadline is Friday. So we have to be cognizant of player moving pieces. There could be some last minute scheduling changes, some roster changes, guys getting sat out because they're being in talks of deadlines. But I think we'll know for sure what this Anaheim Ducks team looks like by the 10 p.m. deadline here tonight for this game anyways. Jay Main says the Avs lost the last 3 back-to-backs. There you go. So we got the advantage for the Ducks in the second leg of a back-to-back with no rest. And we got the Avs losing in those spots out there. Edmonton Oilers over 7, says Jay Main. That has been a free square, has it not, my dude? And Cody Norton, our Skunk Blaster. Scumbag play of the day likes the UCLA Bruins. UCLA Bruins for our guy Skunk Blaster. Appreciate you sharing. Let's go, you guys. Great feedback. PWR Critter likes Edmonton. I was thinking about doing one of those. It's funny when you start winning and you start building the bank. That's when I start getting stupid. I'll never not have $1 to put on a 15-leg parlay that's going to pay me 10 grand. Let me just preface it by saying that. So in hockey, I like to do the side and the total, but on every game and see what that can come up to and equal for me. So if I was going to get involved with Edmonton, I'd take the over. Last night, obviously, I lost on that Rangers under. That was not cashing for us. But let's move on to the college hoops. And we've got ourselves the TCU Texas Tech situation at hand. You guys, Texas Tech number 10 in the land, 12-4 in the Big 12. Wow. I told you some of my thoughts here coming into this. I don't buy some of these teams. I'm not buying what they're into. TCU, on the other hand, who is this TCU team? Have we really got a good chance to see? Are they just kind of riding out the string? Are they just kind of accept a mediocrity in this case out there? They got a strong defensive opponent that's on the other side of the court here. So they're going to have the unfortunate situation where they're going to have to drain all their shots because, it's a big number. It opened at 9.5. It's moved to 8.5. But there's where the opportunity lies. Some sharp betting popping in on this road dog. It moved from 9.5 to 8.5. So you got to recognize that first, right off the hop. Then you got to look at it a little bit deeper and see that, it was 35% of the bets. Where'd it go? Did I pass it? Shoot, I just had it. Hang on. I want to give you guys the exact number. I think it was, there it is. Nope. It's like every time I find it, it's 35% of the bets and 52% of the cash have come in on the Texas Christian side of things. The total's moved up a point. It's gone from 146.5 to 147.5, and it's got correlated movement. The cash is coming in on the over. So it makes a lot of sense. The problem to me is the styles and the matchups, because TCU likes to stop that ball screen and force turnovers, and you're giving them 8.5 points. Christian Anderson, back-to-back games with 6 turnovers. Turnovers are happening in this one, folks. The question becomes, can they continue to drive the wedge? Can they continue to make it happen? And I think that if your star player, the guy that's got the number one point projection on this game, 20.5 points, has gone turnover prone the last 2 games, that's a tricky spot. Then add to it, you're a 500 team at home against the spread. And where does TCU thrive? On the road against the number. So I get it. This is why the sharps are buying in on Texas Christian And I'm getting with them, man. I mean, listen, 82-73 at Iowa State. At the time, with 9.5 points, that seemed like a pretty big whoa moment. What have we seen? So, look, if you're going to sell on a team, I got to encourage you to think about selling on Texas Tech. I'm not saying Texas Christian wins outright, but that at Arizona game on Valentine's Day, let's not forget that that was a bad schedule spot for Texas Tech. And then we knew to fade them against Arizona State because they had that gimmick situation. They won the game by 78-75 against Arizona. But remember, Arizona had that Houston-Iowa State conundrum going on in between there. And then Arizona State, who got thumped by Arizona, said, hey, Texas Tech beat them. That's good enough for us. Let's go out there and smack these boys in the mouth. And they did. As 7.5-point dogs, they won by 5 outright. They beat up on Kansas State. Good for you. Cincinnati, we'll see if Cincinnati's for real or not tonight. They did thump them 80-68 on their home court. And they beat Iowa State at Iowa State. But Iowa State, after what we saw last night, they might just be gassed. Sweet 16 maybe, tops for Iowa State based on the performance that we're seeing from these guys. So I get their schedule and I get that it looks really good, but you got to look at the time and place that these games were taking place. And I don't mean home or road. I just mean the situation within the Big 12 conference. And for me, it's good enough to say I'll take a shot at fading these guys with all these points. And I wouldn't be mad if you wanted to sprinkle a little TCU, but I got plus 8.5 on the TCU side of things. That felt like a good spot for me. What do you guys think? SF Niners in the house. There's our guy back. This is free pancakes till 8 at IHOP. Ah, it is National Pancake Day, isn't it? Huh. Guys, pancakes or waffles, guys? I haven't had a fucking pancake in a while. A long while. I saw some dude on a Blackstone, and he must have been doing it I'd assume he was doing it for his kids or something, because why would you not? Why would you do this if I wouldn't do it for me? He had the different food colorings in the pancake mix, and he was making like Toy Story characters with the different colors and shit. I mean, it looked artistic, but it looked like a pain in the nuts. And that's what got me thinking about pancakes the other day. So I saw it's National Pancake Day. Shout out to SF Niner we're going to help you guys win some bread, but he's going to bring you some hotcakes. He says, IHOP tonight till 8 p.m. J Main says Devils 2-8 on the first leg of a back-to-back. Look at that. You guys you're bringing the goods today, man. I like it. That's how we work together to beat these books. Mississippi State and Florida is the question at hand. And I think I've got the answer for you guys here, because I think it's a big number for a reason. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. It's number 5. Florida comes in here locking up the SEC. Nobody's taking it from them. Mississippi. And by the way, we saw some of these teams that have it locked up, like Navy and Howard. I know these are some mid-major schools. They've still continued to dominate. So thinking they don't have anything to play for may or may not be the best thing at hand here, because Mississippi State ain't coming in here rolling over or taking theirs. Florida has been a dominant team. They're at the Swamp, and when they get hot, they stay one of the hottest teams in the land. We'll talk about that here in just a second. This game, as I mentioned, taking place in the Swamp. Let me get it pulled up here. I probably went out of order. Gosh, there's so many good games. There's so many good games that I could just pull it. Man, I got a couple 14-leg college basketball parlays today. I told you I'll never not have a buck to win 10 grand. I don't expect to win them, but sure, it'd be nice if I did. Remember that one time I did? Anyways, the haters hate to hear about winning 10 grand parlays. This line, here's what you need to know about this line functionality. It went from 22.5 down to 21.5. It's gone back up to 22.5. And the reason being, big bettors, when they took the limits off, continued to pound on Florida. 22.5, 52% of the bets, 73% of the cash have come in on the Gators, baby. Pulling the old chomp. The total's gone up 2 points to 161.5. You've got correlated cash coming in there, 70 and 71% on the over. Makes a lot of sense. Are you scared about this number? I'm not. I think this is a great spot. Now, listen, I get it. Florida, got to look at their spread number at home. They're 6-12. They just beat the shit out of Arkansas. The Pigs. The Hogs got slaughtered. They were eating bacon before the game was even done. 111-77. I was on the Hogs. Plus 9.5. I thought it was a good Hogs bounce back spot. They smoked Texas 84-71. They beat everybody that gets in their way. And I think you're in trouble if you're this Mississippi State team. And if you're Mississippi State, what are you waiting for? It's now or never, boys. And it's never, in my opinion, here. 1.5 point dog, Missouri. 88-64. They lost by 24 points. This team is toast. They got nothing. They got injuries is what they got. Sean Jones, Chow, one of the other factors in this thing here. Not a lot to look at here other than when Florida puts up 90 or more points and covers the spread, they do it again. You're not getting a sell high spot on the Florida Gators. 17-5. It's cashed 13 times in a row over the last 3 years. They put up 90 plus and cover the spread. They're rolling. And it don't stop. It won't stop. If they cover the spread by 5 or more points and put up 90 or more, they're perfect 13-0. It's a big number for a reason. I'm going to lay the 20. I laid 21.5. I don't care if it's 22.5. I'm not going to split hairs over 1 point here. I just think Mississippi State doesn't have the defense or the firepower offensively to go on the road and take down a swamp team that should just bust them in the mouth wire to wire. This should get ugly early and stay ugly often. So we're going to take the Florida Gators in this one here. Chomp, chomp, baby. Bo Jackson's in the house. LALV says, had pancakes with chocolate shake and I have. I like the way you guys get down. Jerry Davis says team total now. Oh, Texas Tech now 7.5. Bo Jackson says, on my way to the Raptors game. I think Coach Darko gets his first win against the Knicks tonight. I'm on the Raptors money line and the T-Wolves. Says Bo Jackson. LALV says, got me $3 personal pepperoni pizza from Pizza and 2-piece chicken from Church's today for $2. How the hell did you do that, man? That sounds great. Bo Jackson says, I love the biscuits from Church's. I've never been to Church's. Jerry Davis says, Bo Jackson, the Knicks have beat the Raptors by 16 plus the last 3 games. And he says, yeah, I faded each of them. Coach Darko can become 1-11 with a win against the Knicks. I believe 62 is the number, Bo Jackson. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. LALV says Tuesday deals for both places in Vegas. Nice, dude. I just saw that place that makes the monster fucking cheese sticks in Vegas. I was going to send it to Ramon and ask him to send me one. Looks good. Big monster block of cheese. What's it called? Like sourdough or something like that? Sourdough pizza or something? Something like that. Seems to be the number. Seems to be the name. Okay. Keep her moving. What do you guys say about that? Let's talk about some BYU and Cincinnati. And it kind of feels like it's another one of those spots to me. We'll talk about it. Let's look at the splits here. Listen, you guys know all my under teams are in play today, by the way. Oh, so you don't need me to give those to you. It'll be redundant. BYU open up as 1.5 point dogs. Red flag. 53% of the bets, only 44% of the cash are on the BYU game. So some bigger bettors are coming in. Now, if you want to play we talk about this, just to be fair, if it's between like 1 or 2 points on both sides, we know that the general betting public has the propensity to say, screw the points. I'll just take the money line. Well, 43% of the bets and 72% of the cash have taken the BYU money line. It went from plus 104 to plus 120. That ain't good. Certainly for worth its note. These two teams, BYU lost 3 of its last 4 and have officially been bounced out of the top 25. So many people, early reactions oh my God, this BYU team. They caught some teams at the right time. I respect it. You're coming into the under dungeon. Cincinnati's 5-1 over its last 6 in a coin flip. BYU came out on fire, 16-1. But once they got into conference and starting to see teams the second time through, they kind of got exposed, and they're 4-8 in their last 12. They're 59th overall in the Bart Torvik system. Even Iowa State. I just shit on Iowa State. Well, that one doesn't have much allure and luster to it anymore, does it? Their defense has been apathetic. They've allowed 84.5 points over the last 12 games. That's good to be about number 200 nationally. 365 teams, and their defense is ranking 200 nationally. Now you're playing a defense and an under capital in the East Coast in Cincinnati. So, I don't know. Is Cincinnati really the East Coast? Or are they Central? Kind of seems to me like it's just a little bit too far to be East Coast. They've ranked 7th best in the same Torvak system in recent form over their last 6 games. So, big win on the road against Kansas. I'm high on that Kansas team. I told you guys that before. 4 double-digit victories. They're beating teams up. They're slapping them in the mouth. So, they still got motivation. They still got to fire. They still got to get going there. They're going to have a big conference performance in the Big 12 to get themselves into the bubble position. I suspect that they're outside looking in. I think that motivation with recent form puts BYU in a bad spot, especially for a coin flip. Their defense ranks 13th nationally in defensive efficiency, allowing 67.4 points a game over the last 9. Recent form, 2 teams moving in 2 different directions. The Cincinnati squad is the way to play. I think it's Cincinnati or nothing here. I got a minus 140. I think that's a fair price tag. You could take the spread as well in this one here. I just think that, if you look at these numbers on the screen and you see that they're both 500 in Big 12, I just shared with you, there's a lot more to it than just beneath the number there of saying they're both even. Because they're anything but. One team started out hot, the other one's finding its form late, and they're passing each other in the middle of the night. Bo Jackson says, Mike Brown can also become 6-2 with a loss against the Atlantic Division. Knickerbocker equals 62. This is Mikey knows. It's also a Buffalo Bills night for some random reason at the Raptors game. Huh. How about that? PWR Critter says Cincinnati should smash. I love you guys sharing your insight, your intel. There's some good ones, man. There's some good ones out there tonight, Bo Jackson. I found one. We'll talk about it here in a minute. I'll give you guys an extra game since you guys are talking about it. And then let's move on here. We'll talk Nebraska and UCLA, the last spot in the college basketball card. We've got number 9, Nebraska, taken to the road. I looked at this game and I saw, you guys know I'm kind of time and place capper, right? And they just had a big game against USC, Nebraska did. So they're still sitting out there on the West Coast. Obviously big news for the Big Ten in recent years, having acquired some of these Western Conference Pac-12 teams. 67% of the bets, 69% of the cash are coming in on the Nebraska side of things. Guess what? They opened as a itty-bitty favorite, minus 1.5 points. They're now up to a 1.5 point dog on the Nebraska side of things. The total's got 84% of the bets and 84% of the cash. It's gone from 141.5 to 144.5. So you got 3 points of correlated movement there. And look, tricky. I get it. Big game for USC, and I know these are just kids, but college kids and their rest. I know some of us don't agree with the rest versus rust factor here, but UCLA plays a hell of a game at home. They're 8-1 in conference versus being 3-6 on the road. They beat Purdue. They beat Illinois. They got busted up on the road, but they stomp on teams at home. Now they did lose to a shit Minnesota team on Saturday. So you got a little bit of a bounce back spot, but it's Mick Cronin to me, man. That's the guy. And he's going to be getting that clipboard out there, chalking it up, talking about how they can take down one of the best teams in the land. They did lose one game at home to Indiana in double overtime to be 8-1 in Big Ten. Think about that. Double overtime to Indiana. So they're not on the road. Now Nebraska 14-4. I get it. Kind of struggled a little bit early in the month, but 3 straight double-digit wins coming into this one. So got to respect them to some degree. But they haven't really beaten anybody of substance in recent time here. Last 9 wins, all against teams that are projected to miss the March tournament. Think about that. We just talked about and discounted some wins for another squad, and it's the same thing here this time of year for me. So I'll give them credit. You got to beat the teams that are on your schedule, but early January, Indiana and Ohio State victories were the last time they beat a team that was tournament bound or tournament eligible. So Michigan, Illinois, Purdue, Iowa. Now the question is, do you rank UCLA in those spots? I do. Because I just told you, with the exception of one double-digit loss to Indiana, they're unbeaten at home. Double overtime. Now, here's the difference for me. The Bruins shoot 37.9 from beyond the arc. And they're home. So, home gym, home rim. That's good enough to be 23rd in Division I basketball. And Nebraska allows the 8th most 3-point attempts. So if you're going to score 3 to their 2, you're going to continue to widen the gap. Simple math, right? On the other side of things, Nebraska, they like to shoot the 3. 37.4% is number 1 in the Big Ten. But UCLA holds teams to 31.6%. So now you got a situation where if this game's going to come down to the 3 ball, how can you not consider this home team as one of them really great spots? And then last but not least, you got a revenge game for Nebraska coming up against Iowa. So is this a look ahead spot? Is this the trappy schedule sandwich spot out there? I like UCLA. I'm taking the Bruins tonight for all of the aforementioned reasons. What do you guys think about that? Jerry Davis says, Mikey, heard UCLA moneyline was being limited severely today. Secondary, though, UCLA has only 2 top 50 wins by a total of 4 points. That's some interesting intel from our guy, Jerry Davis. But that's the way I'm going to close up shop on the college hardwood. Let's go to the big boys here. Let's go to the NBA. We say, I think it's a good move for us here to talk some Brooklyn Nets, Miami Heat. Really great cards today all around. It's funny how yesterday we look at the card and it's like, Today it's like, that Kalshi commercial. It's just meh. Not today. Great games all around. And this Nets and Heat game, I don't know if it's a great game, but I think we have an opportunity to disrupt the apple cart of totals as it relates to the NBA. Now, I looked at this one. And I saw the Nets coming in here, 12.5 points. I just had the Nets the other day. Big winner out there. Heavy favorites have been getting the over. Teams got to have a win percentage over 45%. 178 and 83. Heavy favorites get the over. Over. In fact, you look at these two guys, non-division, heavy favorite. As long as it's not one of them stupid little matinee games, 237 and 132 to the over, 66% win rate out there on top of it. I'm jumping in. I get it. These two teams, the Heat should blister their asses. 70% of the bets, 66% of the cash have come in on the over. It's gone up from 224.5 to 225.5. 226 is out there. I just can't see in a world where we're seeing all these NBA games go under that we can't find a situation where we can find one over on the card out there. And it's dangerous because the Miami Heat have played some under basketball, especially at home. And As a double-digit favorite, it concerns me that they might be in that position to dictate the pace, the style, the tempo of the game. But they are 500 to totals. So, the Nets got to score. That's the key to victory for this game here. They had 3 straight overs. Dallas, Spurs, and at Boston. They get Cleveland, and they got a 12 at Cleveland. So it's very similar line index here. And it went under 224.5. So there's a lot of similarity in feel here. But I just kind of looked at this one and same thing. Both these teams coming off of an under had 3 straight overs before it. So I think this one's a little misleading. I'm going to take that cross-division rival situation in there into account as well here with a big spread and a mediocre total. It's not 215, 216. I mean, we're sitting at 225. This game could get to 228, 229, and we're going to cash and pat ourselves in the back. So that's the way I'm going to kick it off. Maybe not one of the bet the farm on it type of plays, right? But I think you got to take a look at it over here. You got to try to navigate some of these spots, and I think that one gets it done. Jay Maine says a couple good ones floating around in the A. Jay Davis says Brooklyn plus 13.5 for me, Mikey. Nets have been able to drag top 10 pace teams down to 97 possessions. That worries. Yeah. Yeah, I had a Bucks one the other day that kind of got there for me. I get it. Jay Maine says over 250 in LA. Jeez. That's a big number. Spurs and the Sixers. I think this is a great fade my squad situation out there. I barely take ownership of the 76ers anyways. Plus they get some weird 8 p.m. start times for being an Eastern Conference team. That kind of strange to me here. This line moved from -5.5 to -7.5. We're even seeing 8s. 58% of the bets and 60% of the cash have come in on the San Antonio Spurs. I kicked off the show talking about the NBA champion San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to follow it right back up and say I think this is a really good opportunity to fade these Philadelphia 76ers for a couple of reasons. I mean, the biggest one to me, man, there are some really good spots on the card. I'm just scrolling through some notes here. I mean, the over should run pace, and that's where I think we saw the Sixers put up 90 spot the other day. The Spurs had a monster winning streak going on. They got blown out by the Knicks. 25-point loss, and they were favored. Now, we were on the Knicks in that game. They're 11-0 to the over after losing and not covering by 20 points or so the previous game. It's a big number to consider out there. But you got to fade the over, and that's the Sixers. So you got a Spurs team pissed off, fired up, just got one of their worst losses of the season. Not a ton of travel. By train, it's like 45 minutes to go from Madison Square Garden to Philadelphia. The Sixers scored 98 points. They got blown out by the Celtics. If you give the Sixers rest, and they scored less than 100 points, they're 0-12. 0-12 ATS. They're losing games by about 10 points a clip out there. So 7.5, while it seems like a little bit of a lofty number, history dictates that the San Antonio Spurs should literally put that belt right to the 500 ass of the Philadelphia 76ers. 16-15, them boys rank. And I thought that was a pretty meaningful trend. I wanted to get on the Spurs to begin with in a bounce back position after an ugly loss. We've seen that time and again, but now we have a little bit more justification and validation behind it. Let's close her up. I've been doing a better job at writing the marks down here today. Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves, and a tricky spot. This line opened up huge dogs on the Memphis Grizzlies, 14.5. Now, depending on your books, there is some line variance. I see 13s, I see 14s, I even see 15s out there. You have 80% of the bets and 81% of the cash on the Grizzlies. Now, we've talked time and again about, do you trust this Minnesota Timberwolves team at home? And, have they warranted it? Well, they're 13-18 at home, but frankly, they're 13-17 on the road. So as a favorite, the Timberwolves are only 19-30 against the spread. That doesn't instill a lot of confidence, does it? They are coming back home. They had themselves a nice little roadie. They struggled against Philadelphia at home. After that struggle spot, they went on the road. They took down Portland. They took down the Clippers. And they took down Denver Nuggets. However, it's Minnesota Timberwolves. They're not covering spreads. So the flip side, the Memphis Grizzlies aren't doing that either. This will be their third straight road game. They played at Dallas. They did cover. They did win 124-105. Here's the thing about this last game, and I've told you guys time and again, and it's back in play today. They beat the Indiana Pacers, the tanking Pacers, 125-106. What's the key? Over 116 points is the key. You fade them. You fade the Grizzlies after they produce 116 or more points. You're 19-1-1. The books know it. That's why they're dropping the number that they're doing. And you put them in the dog roll with a total of 228.5 or more. You fade them, you're 32-11. All signs point to fade on this Grizzlies side of things here. Favorites against the Grizzlies, where the Grizzlies were a favorite that previous game. You fade them, you're 13-3. The Grizzlies aren't a good basketball team, and it shows in the number. It shows in this number. And the number that I was able to lay for the play was minus 14.5. Scary. But still, I think a good number for us to be able to obtain. So that's the way we're going to do it, you guys. On the dot, it is 6 p.m. It is pregame, and it is Sports Money Network. And I thank you guys for being a part of it tonight. If you haven't done so already, smash that thumbs up button. You want to go out there and get my best bets. You want to see my card for the evening, my premium card out there? I've got it. I've got it loaded up early this afternoon. I was able to get it out there for you guys. On top of it, my favorite plays. You're looking for more plays? You want to parlay them? I got 4 NHL plays. I've got 5 college basketball plays. I've got 2 free plays in the NBA, and I've got a 3-pack card here in the NBA this evening. So you can go over to winnable.com/Mikey Money. Use promo code NY2026. Get yourself a 35% discount. Best deal going on. I saw some of these guys whose records don't even hold a candle to what we do. They're charging 80, 90, 100 bucks a month. Man, I'm asking for 60 cents a day. You guys go over there, check it out, support me. Say thank you to giving you guys content on a daily basis. And I do thank you guys for watching on a regular basis. So if you're tuning in after the fact, good luck to your action. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Every like is super important, and comments. We love the comments after the shows, you guys. On behalf of the Sports Money Network, thank you guys all for tuning in. Have a great evening, and I'll be back to do it again tomorrow.